This is the Improve and Have Fun podcast, where I'm improving myself, having fun along the way with the hopes of encouraging you to do the same. This week I wanted to talk about dating transgender women. I've done it a couple of times and I wanted to talk about my experience and why I'm even talking about this to begin with. The reason why I'm talking about this to begin with is where the improvement part comes in. Right now I'm currently reading Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy. And in this book, I'm going to be looking down at my notes, so don't just bear with me, please. In this book, he talks about letting go and being yourself. I definitely suffer from nice guy syndrome, one where I'm often trying to please other folks. I'm trying to please other people and not taking care of myself first. And in doing so, I cause resentment. I'm not being very honest. I'm not being very straightforward. And one of the things that he talks about in this book is, like I said, being yourself and releasing this toxic shame that you might have that doesn't allow you to be yourself. And this is the reason why I'm talking about this topic today, because this was a point of toxic shame for me where I felt like if this were to get out, that people wouldn't like me and then I would be ostracized, and I may still be ostracized for saying this out loud, especially I'm into dance hall and I'm in this community where I go to parties, and any kind of anything of a man with a man is a no-go. Even though I'm not being with other men, I'm being with men that are transforming themselves into women or already have. And I don't consider myself gay or anything like that. I love women. When I'm dating, women are always my first choice. But dating a transgender woman, it's not off the table for me. I've had a couple of positive experiences, and I would do it again. But I wanted to backtrack. Once again, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I want to let go of this shame that I felt would hurt me because I'm just not being myself, and just kind of getting this off my chest, just getting it out there. It was the same with my talking about having herpes. I thought that if I talked about that publicly, that it would just be the end of me, But I'm glad that I got it out there, and people have approached me and said that it's very much has helped them, and I hope that this video does the same. So where does this all begin? This backtrack. I'm going to go back to when I was a kid, and to this fascination of transgender women. So when I was younger, my older brother, he used to collect this magazine called Heavy Metal. It was an adult fantasy illustrated magazine, and I do not think that this particular story I'm going to talk about was in the Heavy Metal magazine. I forgot the name of the actual story, but he used to collect comic books. He used to collect adult fantasy books, and one of the books that he had was with this biker chick that had a penis, and it was this whole adventure this woman had gone on. And if I find the name of this comic book, I'm telling you, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the show notes and for this episode, for this YouTube video, so you can see what I'm talking about. And I remember getting excited seeing this as a kid. And I thought that was so taboo. Like, man, is this gay that I like this thing? So that was implanted in my brain. Okay. Years later, when I was about 13, 14, I discovered porn and watching porn. And that's when I also started to masturbate to porn. So we're talking about porn now. We're talking about masturbating to porn. Now, there's been seasons where, man, this phone is killing me right now. Alright, I'm going to X that out. Now, there's been times in porn when I liked black porn, when I liked 80s old school porn, when I liked lesbian porn. And for the last decade or less, it's been transgender porn. And, when you're watching pornography and you're masturbating to it, the whole connection of this intense experience of ejaculating, of coming, and what you're watching, it almost binds you together. There's this whole thing about when you ejaculate, when you're having sex with someone, there's this connection that's formed where you may remember this person forever, or you have this emotional connection, and that connection is formed. So watching so many years of porn and watching as many years as I have of transgender porn now, I've even told ex-girlfriends, like, this is kind of like what turns me on. And you have this, you're like, have this bond that's forming, and also you're having this fantasy of, man, if I was to meet something like this in real life, like, I would just go crazy, and it would just be like the most exciting thing ever, because you're looking at this fantasy, which is what it is. It's a fantasy. It's not reality of what this woman looks like, or this person who, they may have fake boobs, they may have a fake butt, and then they may have a penis, and this whole fantasy is formed, right? Where, like I said, once this opportunity presents itself, you would just go gaga, you would go crazy over it, right? It even got to a point where I even got with a prostitute, a transgender prostitute, and let me tell you that all that porn watching, all the masturbating, I've talked about this before, the rubbing and the grabbing and the death grip that you have on your penis, it desensitizes you to actually like wanting to be in a vagina, of wanting to have sex with someone, because your hand is not the same as your penis. I'm sorry, your hand, the sensation that your hand rubbing it on your penis is not the same as when you're inside of a vagina. So I got with this transgender prostitute female, and I couldn't even get excited. I guess was also maybe an emotional connection. The times that I've been with girls in the past, there's been some kind of an emotional connection, and I was able to get excited and stuff like that. But that was a waste of money, but it was an experience for sure. And then there were other opportunities where I met transgender women. There was one that I met in a previous job, and one that I met through a dating website, and those experiences were better. And they were positive. They were not negative. They were not bad. And for that reason, I would be open to dating a transgender person in the future. So I wanted to go ahead and, like I said, get this out there to anyone who is thinking about dating a transgender woman, or you can reach out to me. We can discuss it. We can talk about it for sure. If this is something that you're thinking about, like I said, I haven't had a bad experience. And this whole conversation, it's multiple things. It's dating transgender women. It's also the whole thing with porn. Like I said, I have an issue with porn. I like it, but it disconnects too much from reality. It disconnects a person too much from reality, and from having a relationship, from dealing with this toxic shame that Mr. Glover talks about in his book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, which I'll link to in the show notes for this episode and down below of this YouTube video. It's the porn altogether. It's just has to, in time, stop, and the reason being, and maybe not stop, or just become less. I've talked about this porn masturbation diet in a previous episode, and like I said, what porn does and the masturbation to the porn does is it desensitizes you to being with a woman. It desensitizes you to what sex can be and a relationship can be. And like I said, I'm not totally against porn. I like porn. I've watched it for many, many years. But maybe just doing it less, that's what I'm shooting for now. I'm just shooting for having more days in between where I watch it. And this saving my ejaculation, saving my cum. So like when I'm dating someone, and the experience can be even more intense, and might not rubbing furiously and looking forward to having sex with a woman or a transgender woman, either or. But there is no shame in dating someone who is transgender if that's what you're into. If you're a straight guy like I am a straight guy. I'm not gay. I like women. I like transgender women, and I will date a transgender person in the future again. I'm admitting this once again to get this thing that I felt like was a shameful thing, was a taboo thing that I could not talk about, but just get it out there and let go of the shame and just be me. Be myself, and in the end, love myself. Because if you don't love yourself, if you don't take care of yourself first, no one is going to take care of you. No one is going to take care of your needs. State what you want. State who you are. Don't be ashamed of who you are or what you are. Because there are other people on this planet that are like you, believe it or not. And you are not alone. You are definitely not alone. I don't ever feel I'm alone in having herpes. I don't ever feel I'm alone now in this. that I date transgender women, that I watch transgender porn, that I've been with a prostitute, a transgender person in the past, and it wasn't a good experience. But this is the Improve and Have Fun podcast, and like I said, if you wanted to go ahead and talk about this, talk about it below. Reach out to me. My contact details are in the notes, in the show notes for this episode. And thank you so much for watching if you're watching this. And I'll see you on the next one.